Welcome to Startup Chuck. Today I'm going to teach you how to build this sweet Genie motorized bike rack. It's basically just the cheapest Genie garage door opener I could find and the cheapest bike rack I could find on Amazon, and you marry them together and it's heaven. Look at this thing. Beautiful. Get your bike out of the way, gives you lots of room underneath to work so you don't have all the bikes hanging around. But this only works if you have a super tall ceiling. But for me, it works great. I think right now I've got, 9 bikes or so in here. Lots of bikes. Down near the floor where they're just gonna get in the way. I need to get these bikes from being on the floor to where they are up at the ceiling. First step is this big garage door opener. So this is the cheapest garage door opener that I could find that Genie makes. It's like 125 bucks or something like that. And essentially, all I need to lift is like less than 40 pounds. Usually a garage door opener is about 40 pounds of lifting to lift that garage door up. So it should be the right amount. So my goal is first, I'm gonna hang it onto the wall by bolting this 2x4 on there. And then I'm gonna put this mounting bracket on there, and the door hanger pins into this, and then it'll hang. And then when I get all that done, then I've got this sweet tire hook, and the tire is gonna rest right into this, and then it'll raise it up to the ceiling. Three sharp points here, and since I'm going into stucco, I'm gonna tap the hammer against each one, it'll make a mark, and then I can drill through the stucco and then screw it in the rest of the way. Okay, so I got this guy now. I think I want to mount that essentially to here, but I want it to be on that guy. Ooh, that's neat. So if this guy gets mounted onto that like that, then it can go up and down. In order to get around the safety beam issue, basically this is kind of like an optocoupler. Heat shrink these two together and then just jumper these straight into the connections on there. And then I should have no more problems. Connect them together and then you're good to go. Look how that works. Nice. All right, I got this thing mounted in there. Seems pretty solid, good enough. And now let's attach the arm. So I got the tire bracket on here, and it stores out of the way in case it's not being used. And then it does move a little bit left and right in case you mount it a little bit funky. Now let me show you how I mounted it, because I might be regretting this later on. I'm sitting here thinking about how can I make a custom bracket to mount this guy, and then I realized, oh man, I can totally just use hose clamps on here. And it's only 40 pounds, you know, for my bike, so it's probably gonna be just fine. I might regret it, but I'm gonna try it out. It's on there. I think I got this set for 26 inch actually. This must be set for 26, so I'm actually gonna pull this out. Oh, there we go, that's a much better fit. I got it on there, but I realized I can't walk away because it likes to tilt. But let's get this thing up there. Oh, not enough force. Okay, so as you just saw, the first test failed. It did not have enough force to lift it up. So now I gotta go into the force settings and and tell it to use the maximum amount of closure force or opening force, and then we'll try it again. It's a little sketchy. This is a good first try. In order to fix this, we're going to take the whole thing, flip it upside down so the motor's at the top, and then we're going to take this bracket and we're going to make sure that this doesn't hinge, because this hinging is actually a problem. I thought it would be really cool, and it turns out that it is not so cool. So we'll fix those two things up, improve this mount system, and then give it another shot. I decided that I need to have a carrier to move the bike up and down after the bike just started going sideways. So I'm gonna mount everything to this piece of wood, and then I'm gonna have that piece of wood go up and down, and I'll have an extra little wheel on there to allow it to ride along below, because otherwise there's only the one connection point on the rail. And I don't think that this single connection point is going to keep the wood from just dragging on the wall. So I'll have a little wheel that'll rest against this metal to allow it to give some support. So I'll put all of it together and we'll give round 2 a shot and see how it goes. I need to mount this wood somehow onto this bracket. I think what I'm gonna do is use the existing bracket that comes with it and then just bolt this guy right onto it by chopping it here and then bolting it in through there. Okay, this is in. Now, just need to get a spacer wheel right here. Maybe something like this. Yeah, that could work. So I designed this bracket non-shape in order to have it hold the rollerblade wheel and make it a lot easier for it to travel up and down. All right, so this bracket printed out of solid ABS turned out really good, nice and strong. And now I need to get a wheel for it. Where do you get wheels? Well, your big box of wheels, that's where, of course. Lucky for me, I've got a ton of old rollerblade wheels here. So, just grab one. Let's pop it in there. Luckily, most rollerblade wheels are pretty similar in sizing. Oh yeah, that fit like a dream. Okay. So, I want it to mount basically like that, so let me mark the holes and we'll go from there. Let's drill a pilot hole for this. Earlier when I was drilling through and hitting the stucco, I dulled this drill bit. So I always keep a bin of drill bits so that I can then sharpen them later and then put them back away sharp, as opposed to putting away dull drill bits, which is a pain in the butt. I love using pilot holes. Everything just goes in so nicely. So I've been jamming this little extra cotter pin in here to get it a tighter fit. It works pretty nicely. Moment of truth. Oh yeah. So I can't believe that I got this thing to work. It works awesome. Now, some things I figured out. Usually to set the force, you can hold the plus and minus button at the same time down. That doesn't work with this cheaper model of Genie. You have to work the minus travel, and then anytime you adjust basically the lower garage door end stop, then the next cycle it does, it sets how much force it needs. And so after I adjusted that, it was able to bring this bike up and down, which is about 40 pounds, no problem. And overall, big fan, and if I ever want my bike, it comes right down with ease. Oh, never mind. Bring it back up. Awesome. Some minor improvements I'd make. One is I would make this to where it doesn't hinge. I think that's completely not necessary, and so I'm probably just going to shove like a block of wood in there, or there's these rivets on top. Maybe I'll drill them out, put in some real bolts. Another thing I don't like is down here at the bottom, this hinging guy is useless, and so I think I'll just drill out these rivets and turn it sideways, and then it'll keep the tire in place just with these two wings. Before we get into how I fix this and show you the rest of the video, I want to tell you guys about something cool I've been working on. It's not like a sponsored thing, so I'm not really making any money much off of this. But I have this thing I created called American Tech Support phone cards. And essentially, it's a phone card where you can call a 1-800 number and talk to a AI English-speaking tech support person, and they'll answer all of your parents' questions. And it's super easy to use because essentially a lot of people just don't Google their own problems, but they have no problem calling somebody for help. And so actually I found it to be super useful. It's not like limited to like tech support in terms of like phones and computers. I actually called it up and asked it how to change the radiator in my Miata, and it stepped me through it. And I was like, oh, that's super nice. Either way, it's been a fun project. You can get it at callify.com, CALLAIFY. And I'll also, for people who have subscribed and left a comment in the comment section, I will then be giving one of these away to one of the lucky people who have commented and subscribed and liked the video. So please do that, and I'll reach out to somebody and message them and say, hey, guess what, you won, what's your address, and I'll mail you one. So thank you, and check out how I fixed the rest of the rack and got it working. Originally, I had used this Genie model 1035 as my garage door opener. But then I ran into a problem. They discontinued it. They weren't making it anymore. So because of that, I ended up switching over now to this random Amazon brand called Skylink. And this guy is kind of nice. It's got a few things I like. Another improvement I made was I just used some aluminum bracket to bolt it an extra 4 inches from the wall. So the bottom is mounted directly to the wall on a 2x4 down there, and you can see it. But at the top, there's still a 2x4, but now there's this extension. What that does is it actually leans the bike backwards more. This guy is a little bit smaller. It's got a built-in LED light, and it's relatively cheap. I finally got the second bike rack mounted up on the wall using the Skylink lift instead of the Genie lift opener. Either one would work. Essentially, it was really no different mounting the second one up there. And the thing I noticed though is spacing is it gets a little bit tight. Right now, these are 15 inches apart, and it is just barely clearing the two bikes that I got here. So I can lower the road bike and it can clear on the way down, but that's about it. So this one will stay at a road bike, but I think for a mountain bike, I'm gonna have to be a little bit more spaced out for them not to hit. And so I'll have to fix that. Here's the mount on the first one, and here's the mount on the second one. Second one needed some spacers, but other than that, pretty much the same. I did end up having to put the brake beam sensor to the side right here, taped together, but it works fine. Look at it go. I do like this mount better because it actually has nuts here that you can tighten up. That's a little bit more helpful than just having it move around over the place. Also, the bracket on the bottom is a little bit nicer because at least includes a bracket, although that one's not actually doing anything because it's the tires resting on the wood. All right, since I am gonna put 3 up now, I've got my header board mounted up there, and then I'm gonna mount the bottom footer board like I've got on these other guys right here. So for the footer boards, I basically have 2 screws going into the wall, and then I've got, this has got to be side up, wherever the offset hole is. And I pre-drilled my 2 mounting holes here for my 2 screws. Screw those guys in. For the door opener itself, I've got these pre-bent brackets that I made just out of aluminum. And I'm gonna bolt those guys on the sides, just like this, with some hardware that's already in the box. So let's see what we can find in here. Ah, right here, voila. There's one. Okay. Now these guys are actually pretty fixed distance, so I'm just gonna measure that and then drill 2 pilot holes up top. All right, so if I actually grab this bar, I can use it to get a rough idea. It's gonna go between those 2. So I'll just bring this up there and mark it, and then bring a drill up and drill it. All right, mark this, mark that, nice. I'll leave that up there. All right, so one tool that I really love that's super helpful is a super bright green laser. This one's made by, Dovo. I don't know if that's a real brand or not, but either way, this thing's been pretty sweet. And I used it to actually help build this whole garage. And it was bright enough to work outside in full sun, especially with, they give you some green goggles that help see the laser a little bit better. But in general, when you're working in really full sun, it's hard to see any laser, let alone a green one. And this one was bright enough. I think if you're a contractor, maybe get something slightly better. But for a regular person, just, building a garage or something, I've been pretty happy with this guy. I'll toss a link down below and you guys can check it out if you want. All right, that I can see. Thanks, fancy bright laser. Don't need this guy, so we can undo him. Let's have a race. Oh, there's too many signals. Which one's gonna win? Oh, they're all racing. Go, red bike. Oh. Pretty awesome. All right, that was a little bit long because I basically screwed up the orientation of the garage door opener and then realized that I couldn't get more of the one I started with. But I wanted to include all that info in case you decide you want to use a Genie opener or the Skylink track, whatever it's called, opener. And essentially, now you can make a choice which one works. They almost mount exactly the same. I have the files in links below for you to print out the bracket. I'm not telling anybody they should make one of these, and I definitely don't want to be liable for anybody doing really shoddy workmanship and the bike's falling off or anything like that. So that's on you if you really want to take on that endeavor. All I know is that I love mine, and it is super cool, and it's so nice that it's 8 feet up and I can walk under the bikes and work and not worry about hurting them, and they're just not all over the floor and in the way. So it is really awesome. I'm super duper psyched. I'll also have links below for the garage door openers I like, the bracket that I found worked really well for holding the bikes to the wall, and then those tools that I like, the laser and the sharpener for drill bits. I really like the drill bit sharpener. I use that thing all the time. Every time I have a bit that just doesn't seem sharp, I go sharpen it, and it is just so much nicer to have sharp drill bits all the time. And you don't feel like you have to go out and buy new drill bit sets all the time, which is awesome. Or if you break a drill bit off, you can just resharpen it in the sharpener, which is great. You'll have a little stubby drill bit. So please subscribe, and thanks for watching the video, and stay tuned. I'll have a bunch of more cool stuff. Thanks.
Is it stick shift?
That's better.